Okay, so last night I made some of the best CatHead biscuits I've ever made. They were absolutely excellent. I kind of regretted not making a video where I could show my family. So that's what I'm doing tonight. And I'm going to cut to the chase right quick. Here is the main ingredient, the main thing you need to know. Southern Biscuit Formula L biscuit mix. Now there's a lot of red bags that look just like this that say Southern Biscuit, but if they don't say Formula L biscuit mix, you will not get the same result by any means, because this has everything you need to make a biscuit, including, if you look kind of hard, you'll have to look hard, but there's little specks of like yellow things and stuff in there. Well, that is, and I'm not sure if it's Crisco or if it's lard that has a little butter in it. It already has the butter, it already has the fats you need, which is the Crisco or the lard. Everything is in there. It works absolutely excellent. And then you need buttermilk, and that is the only two ingredients you need. This bag and that jug. And I'm using this, which is Marburgers. That's the one I like now. It's pretty thick buttermilk, but I mean, it's a full fat buttermilk. It's not low fat. So I mean, you could use whatever, buttermilk you can get. Trying to think of what else needs to be said. I did put it in this glass Pyrex dish to kind of draw some of the coldness. This came out of the refrigerator. I'd like for that glass to kind of help heat it up. I set it out 30 minutes before too, because I don't want really cold buttermilk. I don't. That might be the wrong thing, but that's what I do. And then here is my pan that I don't need this big of a pan for what I'm making tonight, but there's what I'm using, just a regular sheet pan. And I've actually put lard on mine. You need to put something, in my opinion. Most people, 9 out of 10 people, would just use Crisco, but I'm using lard. The next thing, if there's anything else that needs to be said, is we're going to mix this up. We're going to make it real sticky, and then we're going to add flour back. Now that's everything I had left out of that bag last night. And I don't really want to open this one, so I'm probably going to dip some of that out of there. It's as simple as something like this right here, just so I can control it a little better. In fact, I'm going to take that much out, and it's just, you do ever what you think. But that is probably right there. That's about a cup. So that's about 4 cups, maybe 4.5 cups of this. And there's 2 cups of that thing. But it really doesn't matter the amounts. You're looking for the consistency. And that's what I'm going to try and show as best I can in just a minute. So y'all bear with me and I'll be back. Okay, so I got a little hung up on a phone call there for a while, but anyhow, all it did was let my milk get a little bit warmer, and we'll even stir that a little bit, because I like it. I'd like it to be room temperature. But here's the only part that matters, if you ask me, making a biscuit. And it is getting the liquid and the powder, or the flour, right. And this is mainly for, I guess, Casey and Cody, because most of the women already know this. Most of you do. But here you go. What I'm going to do is pour this in until it gets real sticky all over my hands. And then I will wipe my hands off. And then I'll start adding this. That seems to be the best way for me. And I don't even care about making a mess. Just make the mess. So we're going to pour in some buttermilk on top of my flour, or my Southern Biscuit Formula L, and we're going to do this right here with my blending fork, or any fork you got, and we're going to make it, we're going to keep pouring liquid in until we get it a real, all incorporated into the liquid and real sticky. And it's pretty sticky right now, but it ain't where we want it yet. So we just kind of do that right there. And we're going to go, this is what I do now. Maybe there's better ways, and the women watching this may tell us in the comments the better ways. But here's what I do. I just get everything. This way I know all my flour is got buttermilk on it. And I just mix it up just like this. And you can imagine trying to put your hands in there. It is not going to work real well. But I can get it all like this right here. And there's really no need of me putting my hands in there yet. But just so y'all that want to know how to make a biscuit, in fact, I'll do it. You see how sticky and wet it is? Well, now we want to be able to make it so we can make a ball about the size of a little less than, say, a tennis ball. So I'm going to put a little flour, and I don't know why I go past it. It's just what I do. I go past it being too dry. I think it's just to get everything incorporated. That's what worked last night, and that's what I'm doing tonight. So I went past it being where I should have it to make, you know, not too wet. Now I like to I put more flour right then than I meant to, but I think it'll be all right. But see, it's starting to gather up. And I'm going to make sure my camera's running. I hope it is. It is. And I'm just going to keep doing this right here. You don't want to overwork it, everybody says. But you can see, there is nothing I could do with that. So you have to keep adding flour. And I may have to open that bag, but we're going to see. So I'm going to just do this right here. And if I have to open that bag, I'll have to stop. I got a feeling I am now that I've just did that. And I'll have to clean my hands off and get it to where I can make, you know, not a mess. But there goes every bit of that flour. And if that bag was open, or if you were doing this from a new bag, you wouldn't have to worry about bags being open. They would already be there. So I'm going to slap it around a little bit. And I'd never even go to where the people do it and roll it. I don't even go to where I roll. I make it right out of this bowl. It just makes sense to me. But that is not, it's just not, it still needs a little more flour. You can see I can't make a ball that I can roll up in my hand. Now I ain't talking about like a completely, well, you'll see in a minute, because we still have to, I got to open this new bag and clean my hands off, open this new bag, and add some more flour. So, I'll be right back. And I don't know how I'm going to turn that off, but I'm going to try. All right, you can see I have a sink full of soapy water right behind me. I got to wash my dishes anyhow. And that's what I just did. I may have went a little far on that, but we're fixing to find out, because it's kind of touchy at this point. So, we're just going to get in there with both hands. We're going to make sure we get all that flour incorporated into our slightly smaller than a tennis ball. Get that fork out of there. And we're pretty close right now. And you can see it's starting to become a flour dough instead of a sticky mess. Now there's a lot of flour on the bottom, so I try and knock it off the bottom. And I'm fixing to dump a little more flour in there, and I'm going to keep doing that till it gets to that point. I'm actually going to leave the camera running because I want you to see everything I do, and I may edit it out, but if I don't, because I'm really close right there. And so for a man that hadn't done this but once or twice, is close to me. I'll put it like that. I'm going to make a mess of my bag, but I remember that's why my grandmother's always had a little bit of flour on it. Dough stuck to the bag. Now I know. And I did go a little heavy again, but I got milk right here. You can go either way. If you go too far one way, you just add milk. If you go too far the other way, you add flour. And it's that simple. And I mean, a really good, knowing how to make a biscuit is not that much trouble. And when you're videoing it, it does add a little bit of time. I don't think I would have been this precise if I was not videoing it, but I am. And I am going to knock that flour off the bottom. It cakes at the bottom, so I've kind of got the camera as high as I can get it. But the flour will cake at the bottom and kind of sticks. And you kind of knock it off of there just to make it like you want it. You know what I mean? And then we're really close, but we're still just not there. I mean, that's close. But see, I can't make the ball, and my hands are still stuck to everything. So I'm going to pick up my bag, and I'm going to put about that much in there. And because I don't know what I'm doing all the way yet, hadn't done it many times, I'm being real careful. And I imagine y'all will need to do the same. But you can see I'm starting to be able to work it. I need to move that measuring cup. But you may get tired of watching. And if you do, you fast forward. Because you get the idea already at this point. And if you saw the video that I put on Facebook last night, this is exactly what I did to make those CatHead biscuits that to me were spot on, as good as I know how to get them. Well, as good as I've ever had too. And you can see we got some dough now. Now we're close to being able to make the slightly smaller than tennis balls I was talking about. I'm gonna break that off the bottom like I was talking about a while ago. Just kind of clean the bottom of the pan. I don't know why I'm saying it so much, but that. And then I'm just gonna kind of knead all this together. And you can see my hands are kind of coming clean because this has become where I can almost work it. Now I hadn't decided. I'm gonna try and ball one up. And if I can, I'm good. If I can't, I'm going to add more flour. But I think I'm calling that good. That one's a little small, but I'm going to put it right there just because. Then I'm going to take this one. I'm going to make sure we're still good. And I think we are. And you can see I can roll it. Now, it's not, it's a little tacky still. I don't want to go much further than that. That's pretty close. I'm going to knock it down just a little bit. And I got my pan where I don't need it. So I'm going to move this. I'm going to move this. And I'm going to put my pan where you can see it better, hopefully. I'll set it like this. And yeah, we're going to have some dough on the bottom that I don't have to worry about burning in the oven because it's on the bottom of that sheet pan. And I'll try and remember to take it off where it won't smoke. But in fact, I'm going to go with one of them that's a little hefty because that's the kind I like. Right there. And there is, ooh, that might be a little big. That's the one I will temp to make sure I'm around 200, maybe 205 degrees. The bigger ones, the ones you want to temp. And 205 degrees is where most breads, no matter what kind, within reason, are done. So we're going to get 6 biscuits out of this. And they just about were a little bit tacky right there. And these are going to be small. I'm almost regretting not using a little less right there, but I didn't. So we're going to see what happens with that. And there are the dough balls of my CatHead biscuits. Now, that one's considerably larger, but it doesn't matter. I got my oven at 450 degrees, and I'm fixing to set that in there, and I may take the camera in there, I don't know, but you get the idea. 450 degrees oven's been on about 30-45 minutes. It's been preheated that long. I want it to be at that temp. And then we will be using a temp, my thermopan. But you'll get to see a little bit of differences between, say, that one, and then these 3 that are a little bit larger. Now, I said I was going to remember to get that off of there, because if you don't, you do something like I just did, it'll smoke and in your oven. So I'm going to move the camera, but I'm going to go put these in the oven and be back. Now, all right, here we are at the oven. Here are the biscuits, and we're going to watch them from right here. We're at 450. In we go. I'm going to set the timer. I'm going to set it to 20 minutes. I'm not expecting it to take that long, but we're off and running. All right, we're right at 15 minutes, and I'm just going to check them. They look good, but I want to see what that temp is on this center one right here. 180, 185. I'd like to see a little more than that, and there it is. I think I just had it poked wrong. That's what we got right here. Still a little lower than I like on that big one, so we're going to leave it in there for another 2.5 minutes. Be back. Okay, we're right at around, I don't know, 17, 18 minutes. We're going to see what we got right now on these bodacious CatHeads. That one is 196. Now you got to remember, we're going to let them rest for about 5 minutes. There's 197. We are good. There's 193. They're going to rest before we cut into them for about 5 minutes out here before we mess with them. So cut the oven off. Go ahead and turn that timer off where it won't be waking us up. I got them sitting right here on the table, and we're going to move them in there and put some cheese and stuff on them. So there they are. Be back. All right, they've rested about 5 minutes or so. I kind of like to let them rest. That way, when you cut them open, all that heat leaves. They'll finish kind of cooking, and some of that steam kind of moisture stays in there. I think this is going to be my favorite one. So we're going to take this cat head. Well, this might be more like a mountain lion or a cougar head. That might be what I call these cougar head biscuits. But we're going to cut that one open just like this and get a look at it right there. And you can see that butter that they put in there, but I don't like that steam even getting out right now. But you see those little yellow spots? That's from that butter that they put in there. And I'm going to let it sit again just a little bit longer right here. Now those biscuits right there will probably get put up for tomorrow. But I'm about to let that cheese sit there and get soft and gooey on there. And I'm going to hit it with some wild blueberry preserves. Now, them G-Babies, Soph and Carter and G-Baby Jane, they might like this right here on there. Just hose it down. But and of course some butter. But I don't know how you beat that. Those are light, they're fluffy, they're excellent. They're as far as scratch made that I'll ever make. And there it is. So now y'all, my whole family can make a biscuit, a cat head biscuit. Or you could just make regular biscuits, but it's hard to beat them cat heads. Anyhow, now y'all know.